thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for joining the conversation. Thanks for just being part of this space and adding your voice to the choir. By you showing up to these streams and participating, it makes me want to do more. I just love the fact that I can hit a couple buttons, I can go live, and I can stream. So folks, thank you. Great to have you here. It's a wonderful day. It's, what is it, July 15th. Time is flying. Summer's going quickly. I'm, of course, Big Cheds. You know me from Twitter at Big Cheds, Bitcoin Live, where I'm a proud founding analyst. Folks, this is part of the Quick Market Update series on YouTube. I do these streams twice a week, Tuesday, Friday. Something you may not know about, I have a brand new playlist. It's the Trading Encyclopedia. I'm putting out a 3-minute video every single day. And my goal is when there's any trading or technical analysis topic and you're not sure about it, I'm gonna have a video for you. RSI oversold, overbought, how to play a fake out, how to use a stop loss, what's confirmation, what's an uptrend. So I've recorded like 60 or so videos. I have a whole bunch that just haven't come out yet because they're scheduled. I'm doing one a day. So a very large library. And what I would say is if you have a question, you want to learn something, come to this playlist. And if you don't see the topic, let me know. And I want to record a video for you, okay? Another thing, I just recorded a long-form interview with Fallis. He's a really good trader. And so I'll have that video out today or tomorrow. And I'm going to be doing more long-form interviews. So check that stuff out. Of course, you know, Trading Journal is available on Amazon, my new book. Because of that, Trading Quotes, I have the free version. I just recorded a recent video. So I've just been like super active on YouTube. And I just want to remind you, my favorite exchange, check out BingX if you're looking for an exchange. Folks, let's talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, altcoins. Bring your questions, jump into the chat room. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know if you can hear me and all that good stuff. And as always, what I'll start out with, I'll just kind of talk about the chart for a while. I'll kind of set the tone, and then I'll jump into the chat room and see what you folks want to talk about. I did a really good live stream also on Friday, so you can go back and check that out. So what's going on with Bitcoin? Well, I was watching this just before I started. We're heading towards the highest daily volume candle, since April. What does that mean? We'll see. We shall see. It's an interesting spot where, if you look at the weekly chart, I'll start on the weekly and I'll kind of go into the daily, but the weekly chart has been beautiful with the high and tight weekly consolidation. We saw the inside bar expecting consolidation, and that has continued. The price has more or less respected the EMA 8. We had the range low sweep and recapture, circa 100K. And then most recently, just based on the daily structure, it allowed you to take a very easy long at the 110K break. Why is that an easy long? Well, what the price did is it established this level. Interaction, price distance to a trough, back to the peak, interaction, price distance to a trough, back to the peak, interaction, price interaction with a key level, forming the level on 3 attempts, time distance in between the attempts, price distance, peak to trough, well-formed level locally. And why would you take that long there? Well, you're trading with the trend. It's an uptrend expressed on pretty much all time frames, daily and weekly. I'm going to fix this MA200. Let me do that. Most TradingView just recently, let's try it like that. We'll do it like that. Yeah, TradingView just updated their settings. So I'm just, in any case, sorry for that distraction. So yeah, you're trading with the trend. You took that local break in 110K, and boom, we had another local breakout. Local meaning in the most recent price action. There's terms I may be saying, things I may be saying that don't make sense to you. You could just go to my YouTube and check out the Trading Encyclopedia, right? So if you ever feel yourself not being sure what I'm talking about. So weekly consolidation, and then the local breakout, circa 110K, and nice continuation. Advance. Yeah, we have a shooting star. Shooting star candle. So what do we think about this? So what is a shooting star? A shooting star is a small real candle body with a long upper shadow, at least twice the size of the real candle body. Now, ideally, for this to be any type of a signal, you want it to come after an advance. And for this to be a really bearish signal, you'd want it to be a red shooting star and strong volume. In strong trends, such as we have here, normally this will just mean a mean reversion or a drop back to the EMA 8 and continuation. So you want to learn how to contextualize these candlestick signals. It's a short-term signal, but it doesn't have a lot of long-term staying power. And given that it's a strong trend, you don't want to short this still. You're still not shorting Bitcoin because it's an uptrend. We're looking to buy dips. We're looking to trade with the trend. If you want to short something, find some altcoin that's just bounced, and we'll discuss that in a minute. And I'll get to the chat room in a second. But it's just a little shooting star suggesting drop back to EMA 8. I had put out a tweet to that in that regard last night. Here we go, 13 hours ago. Bitcoin shooting star after an advance on daily. Mild consolidation, mild so far. First logical target, EMA 8, circa 116K. We kind of did that exactly. So we did that exactly. We dropped back to EMA 8. Why is that the first logical target? Well, after a price expansion out of the range, very often the price will use the EMA 8, all right? Primary uptrend support. It's covered in my videos, it's covered in the Masterclass webinar, it's covered in the trading encyclopedia. So now we're back to the EMA 8. Now what? Well, I mean, you could drop to 4 hour. You could look for more structure, just kind of see what's going on here. You can see it more or less is testing local demand. You have a gap in price in between essentially the breakout range right around 110K and, well, really the 112K level. We will observe a minor bull flag after advancing. 4 hour advance, bull flag, and break. Given this structure and the structure here, I think you can now view 112K as a logical throwback target. And we'll observe that there's really no price history or there's no action in between these ranges. So if the price doesn't hold here at 116K, it's a pretty good chance it drops to about 110 to 112K area. It's not rocket science. It's just very simple move and consolidate type of classical charting. A little bit of a combination with some candlestick signals. But overall, the trend is incredibly strong. It's a beautiful breakout. You should be not surprised in any way that the price consolidated and continued. But before I go on anymore, let's say hi to the chat room. Bilal, it's good to see you, man. What's up, Bilal? Hey, Burnside, what's up, brother? Good to see you, Burnside, Oceanic. Mohammed, you're very kind. May you also be blessed. Thank you, brother. Appreciate your love from Qatar. Right back at you. Psalm Capital, Chocolate. It's great to see all you folks. If you want me to rant and just, go off on a tangent, I can talk about stuff. But if you want me to look at a chart, I'm happy to do that. So I gave you just kind of a real rough back of the napkin overview of Bitcoin. We'll do Ethereum, and then I'll dive around to the altcoins. There's a bunch of interesting altcoins, that are worth talking about. So that will be fun. Ethereum. So Ethereum had the high time frame loss and recapture of 2100, 2150. Certainly you've been bullish on that level. It's rewarded you with many throwbacks. Well, this isn't technically a throwback, but this is a throwback. That's a throwback. And here after the recapture, that's a throwback. Clean throwbacks, asymmetric, risk on, above, risk off, below level. In the meantime, after we had the most recent throwback, the price formed a tower top. Tower top, I talked about this a lot in Twitter ahead of time. Strong advance series of small candle bodies, 5 stars in a row or 5 small bodies in a row, suggesting a drop to come. It came right back to the midpoint of the green candle and bounced from there. So actually, Ethereum has been rather textbook as well. You can kind of go back and watch my old videos or recent videos and see how we've kind of followed it along. Dropping back again to the daily time frame and looking for some structure upon which to execute a trade or to manage risk, you had a local breakout circa 2850, 2900. So a breakout on Ethereum, affording you the opportunity to take another long trade. So now we're viewing any type of price drop back to 2850, 2900 as a throwback opportunity. Okay, we'll see what happens. Here above, there is very much clustered resistance all the way up to 4K. It's unlikely to be just a clear, straight shot up there. This is likely to chop, give you throwbacks, and give you retests. What's up, Kevin? What's up, Burgie? Oceanic? Borgie says, I'm late for joining. Don't be sorry, man. Folks, look, I know we're all living we're busy, we're living our lives. Whether you listen to me live I appreciate you. Whether you listen to me on replay, I appreciate you, right? But if you did just arrive, you got to check out the Trading Encyclopedia playlist. I made it for you. It's very binge watchable. So Brady wants to look at Tau. We'll do a couple altcoins now to mix things up. I don't know if you can tell, I just swigged a whole bunch of coffee, so I'm all amped up off of coffee. So let's take a look at Tau. What's it doing? Okay, so we have a very important higher low area to watch, bigger picture, longer time frame, right? So the price made a pretty drastic low here. A series of failed higher lows, okay? Descending supply trend break, lower high break, circa 280. Price advance and pause at a logical level, and now back and has found support, and now we have another response here. So this area needs to hold. This isn't a chart I'm necessarily going to play because there are better, stronger charts, better market participants, things with cleaner structure available for me, to speculate on. So I will say, if you are sidelined, you can take a long if it breaks 485, 490. It looks to be consolidating still. There's not much of a trend here, as you can see with the sideways MA200. So it's a little bit lukewarm. Elvin Ranger, what I think about hype? I mean, it's super bullish. I mean, I don't know what else there would be to say about hype. It may need to consolidate, sure, but it is held here. MA50 should not be blue. See, TradingView messed me up. You know how sometimes you've got a system and then something just comes and it changes it and you're just completely thrown off? That's a little bit better. So MA50 held on hype, local range breakout. If you're trading this, you'd look to buy a dip somewhere in the low 40s. I think hype's a super bullish chart. That's a great question. Let's see. Let me go back. So Bilal wants to talk about Bonk. Bonk has been an interesting chart. I think I have some recent tweets on Bonk. Somewhere down the road. I mean, I'm very active, so I won't sport your patience. The fun's been crazy. Yeah, I talked about fun. Fun's been crazy. So, but we'll just pull it up fresh. I think I was looking at kind of if I remember correctly, it's a high time frame double bottom. I'm not sure which one of these will have the proper history. There we go. So here we go. Yeah, look at that. So this is what you can refer to as a double bottom with a lower low. You can call it an Eve and Adam double bottom. Here's your peak. Here are your troughs. And you have the higher low structure. I actually go over this in a video I made for the Trading Encyclopedia playlist where I talk about the different variations of double bottoms. You can have lower low with a sweep. You can have equal lows. You can have a higher low. The higher low represents more increase to more aggressive buyers. You can have even Eve. You can have an Adam, blah, 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 right? The thing that really matters is how well defined the overhead level is here. You're roughly right around 2300 range. We have a local breakout. You would be looking to play a throwback or a retest of that area. It's nice structure, and bulls definitely have momentum. Bilal, so that's a good call on Bonk. Psalm Capital on a Creasum. Let's see, how you doing, brother? On a recent quick market update, we looked at QS on the NSY to see if it bottomed. It's since ripped and looks convincing. Is $10 a good level to watch or throwback? Yeah, let's take a look at QS. QuantumScape. That's a great question, and thank you for formulating your question in such a clear way. Wow. All right, so I need to go to weekly immediately. When I see this, and I'm filling up the whole screen, this daily screen with a slow bleed and a bounce, it's hard for me to put this bounce into context without stepping out and getting a sense of the broader trend. So that's when I'm going to step out to a higher time frame. Let's take a look here. Okay. So not much going on until recently, and volume. So that's good. We have accumulation here. I can tell the OBV will just be skyrocketing. Boom. OBV will be skyrocketing. Nice bounce out of the range. Let's mark out levels that would be important going forward. Hope everybody's doing well, having a good Tuesday or whatever day it is today. Hope everybody's doing well. All right, so your question is $10 a good level to watch for a throwback or too aggressive? What do you mean too aggressive? I see. Okay. Well, it opens up a good point. And now that I've gone to the weekly, I can zoom back into the daily and kind of look at the structure. You know, that's a good point. I tend to be more of a conservative trader. So and me personally too, given the lack of history and only recently has this had any kind of volume and accumulation, I probably would wait for a dip back to like 750. Something here in the middle of the range. You know, $10 would not be much of a throwback. It would really just be at the upper Bollinger Band, not even EMA 8 here on the daily, which is short time frame. So I think it's probably too aggressive, at least for my style, right? Let's see, David. What's up, David? David says we just had a blow off time for the bear market. I don't know what you mean. I don't see any blow off in Bitcoin. Let's see. I know it's a stock. I can look at stocks. What do you think about the structure of JOBY? Okay. I don't know if I know what this is. Joby Aviation. I haven't heard of that. I don't mind looking at random stuff here on YouTube. That's beautiful. Super strong. The question is big rounded bottom. Well, I mean, rounded bottom. I mean, this is maybe a rounded bottom, but this isn't necessarily bottoming. This is continuing. I mean, sure, I think you're kind of looking at this range, and the question is, does it pause and do a handle? Does it pause and do a minor consolidation, maybe a throwback? But it's also pretty choppy, sloppy, just sideways. Again, too, on the daily, I need to go to weekly to get a time frame. So what we see on the weekly time frame, most importantly, is the price above the peak of the earlier consolidation range, the left side of his consolidation range. So I think you certainly can be encouraged to be risk on, you know, while that $10 area plus holds. So not too bad at all. AVAX, let's look at some cryptos, folks. That's why we're here. Take a look at AVAX USD. Let's go back to crypto. We'll go to AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. What's up, Josh? We'll take a look at XRP in a minute. Yeah, I don't like it. AVAX is a bad chart. I think it's, you know, thing about this kind of a chart is actually really good if you're looking for a short. If you're looking for a short setup, because you have a downtrend that has just bounced. So in theory, you could be targeting a short as price structure approaches the test of this low. But for me, wanting really good meat on the bone, I'd want to see it attempting a double bottom and then fail. Knowing that I think 60 or 62% of double bottoms fail, you have a bounce into resistance. This would set up a very nice short opportunity. If you're looking to long, this is a garbage chart. It's a very weak chart. There are so many better charts out there. I should just mention a few for now. For example, even H bar, nice bounce back into the range. We've been following Fun is super bullish. Fun has been, I don't know why Fun's taken off. Maybe because people think it's pump fun. Been following this. This is beautiful. I've been tweeting about it. You know, BCH is strong. Any of these, BNB, you asked about XRP, we'll look at that. But AVAX is just a rough looking chart. I would not. I mean, you got to avoid, these are bad charts. I don't care about the technology. None of that stuff matters. The market hates this, so I hate it. If the market loved it, I'd be telling you how much I love AVAX, right? So yeah, it's my method. Maybe yours is different. That's okay. XRP, sure. I mean, what's not to like about XRP? It's been an incredibly grinding, steady trend. Not really as steady as TRX, which is just a beautiful trend. But XRP is bullish. It held nicely on the test of that $2 level. And you had the very brief deviation and recapture, set the range peak. Set a local range peak, gave you another long trigger, circa 235. Bounce with a higher low into 250. It broke that. Now it's a brief pause. So it's consolidating. It may throw back, and I wouldn't panic. I might even look to take a long on a retest of, 255, 260. Brady says, thanks for looking at the charts. You made my treadmill time fly by. Good for you. And folks, it's just a good point. If you want to be a good trader, you got to take care of your body and your mind. Like if your sleep sucks, so will your trading, right? So think about taking care of yourself as a whole body. If you're struggling, maybe you're drinking, you're smoking too much, you're not eating right, make sure you're taking care of your body. So that's a good job. Fartcoin, sure. Let's take a look at Fartcoin. I've been told that hot air rises. And we'll try to get as many of these requests as possible. Let's see. I think, which one is history? I know it's not always, let's try that again. There's not always history when I pull up this newer stuff. Okay, so here we have Fartcoin. Tightening range expressed here. Kind of still chopping through it, but a local range break. So what do I think about Fartcoin? Let me step back. Let me zoom out. It's not a bad chart. It's definitely not a bad chart. It's still consolidating. Very much has overhead here. You get a long trigger around 150. I think that would be adequate. It is an uptrend. I would most certainly rather be a bull than a bear. I'll take a look at render as well. We'll do render USD. Let's take a look at that. Hope everybody's chilling and doing well. Another quick plug, trading encyclopedia. If you, hey, anybody, have you watched this yet? I know plenty of you have, but you'll love this. 3-minute videos on every topic in trading and TA. If you go there and you don't see what you're looking for, let me know. I will record the video for you for that topic, okay? This is another bad chart. Render looks bad. It's a bad chart, kind of like AVAX. Super, super weak. Many other market participants have done this. They've broken above their neck base. This is super weak. The market hates it. So what do you do with it? Well, could be a short setup. If it gets a little bit higher, you could take a short and you can manage your risk, saying that, hey, I'm not going to hold above, say, 420, or even a short if it can, by some miracle, make it all the way up here. This is a bad chart. This is a downtrend. So you want to look to fade any kind of a bounce in this chart. MicroStrategy. Take a look at MicroStrategy. We'll go back here. Take a look at MicroStrategy. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, what are you going to say? Remember all the way back at the daily MA200, and that had held since forever. I mean, so, you know, you still want to see that hold. If you get another shot at daily MA200, I mean, it's held since 22 bucks, 20x higher. If we get another shot, if and when you want that MA200 to hold, you do have the local breakout. Price held nicely here. Local support resistance pivot as well. It's a nice looking chart. Is it going to straight up break through here? I don't know. I'd favor more of a bounce and then a drop back. Maybe not like that, right? It's not going to go backwards in time, but I would favor a pause, come back, tag this structure, build some rising demand, and continue that way. But I wouldn't bet against this chart. Not right now. Not based on the information we have. What's up, Martwan? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. GRT, sure. Hope everybody's doing well. And if I don't catch your request this time, I'll try to do it next time. You can come back to the next stream on Friday. Yeah, GRT is another trash chart, folks. And by the way, I've been targeting GRT for a short because I know it's a weak chart. We've got all this upper shadow weakness, these multiple shooting stars as the price is bouncing into resistance, right? This is a really good looking short setup, in fact. So I like this for a short. It's a bounce in a downtrend. Why is this a short? Well, it is priced below a falling MA200. So it's a downtrend. And trends tend to continue, you want to take advantage of moves against the trend. It's an underperformer. I hope you're not looking at this for long, right? It's just a bad chart. So here's a question, Paul. Paul says, tell fundamentals insane. But what there are no fundamentals. That's a myth. He says 50 telecom partnerships coming by the end of the year. But that has nothing to do with the price of the token. That has nothing to do with anything. None of that matters. Everything you think you know, and this is me, by the way, this is me just speaking honestly and giving you my opinion. Anything you think that matters like that, something that could be happening, partnerships, or a new Google exec joined the board, that's in the price right now. That's factored in the price right now. If me and you weren't talking about it on a Cheds stream on YouTube, it's factored into the price. The market knows about it, right? This is what it's supposed to be worth. The chart's not bad, okay? This is not a bad chart, but don't get to the point where you convince yourself that the price should be higher because of a partnership. These are nonsense tokens. These are vehicles for speculation. Trade them, take advantage of them, but don't fall in love with them, my friend. When I hear you start talking about this, fundamentals insane, my spidey sense goes off. I hear it's red alert. I hear Captain Picard calling for red alert, you know. Got to be careful with that. That being said, the price structure is decent, and it should, but just based on the pure price alone, maybe setting up for an overhead trigger here at like 007 range, roughly. The point I want to make is don't get ahead of yourself. Don't, convince yourself that you know something the market doesn't. The market here already knows about your, whatever you think the partnerships are, right? Let the market do the math for you, okay? Do I factor season? Brady, great question. I know you're not a cycle guy. I'm not. But you know who is? My colleague, Bob Lucas, another founding analyst at Bitcoin Live. do I factor in seasonality? Not really, not really. And maybe subconsciously, I know we have big moves in November, in Bitcoin, and sometimes summer is often a little bit slower. But I try not to think that way. I try to just stay steady to the trend. I look for opportunities. I find trending markets, and I try to take advantage, of moves against those trends. Let's see. Maybe do a couple more requests. Okay. WorldCoin, is that what that is? WLD? Let's see. Yikes. This is a bad chart, folks. Why are we requesting? I mean, hopefully you're not long in this. This is a good potential short setup. It's a downtrend that's trying to bounce maybe a little bit higher. It might be an opportunity. But look at this level here. Look at this very clear support resistance level, principle of polarity. Support is now resistance. I think if you get another shot in that 130 range, it'd be a very nice short setup. All right. So I talked about Bitcoin. I talked about the weekly consolidation. I talked about the inside bar and how we've been expecting consolidation, how the price held EMA 8, price held at the local range low sweep and recapture around 100K. And then we had a new overhead trigger form at 110K, affording you yet another easy long trade. So, I mean, Bitcoin's just given us so many, even just recently, so many super, super easy long trades here in the recapture, 78K here at the 81K level, that the 4H double bottom, 88.5, 96K break. It's been pretty astounding. So if you want to be long, you should be long. We had the local break, and now we have the advance into the shooting star. It's a green shooting star, and it's decent volume, but not that much. It's not a real warning sign. It's a mild warning sign suggesting consolidation. And so what that does for me, initially it suggested we're going to drop back to the EMA 8, and I put out that tweet. Let's try it again. I put out that tweet, 13, 14 hours ago. And I said, shooting star, we're probably dropping back to the EMA 8, 16K roughly, and we did that. So now we're having some price response off of that area. If you observe, we're getting some volume here as well. This is interesting. Inside bar, then outside bar. Interesting. This structure is still forming. You don't need to name this. It's a broadening bottom. None of that really matters. The volume is interesting, though. We'll see how that plays out. And we are heading for the highest volume here since May. But, practically speaking, what you want to do is, again, position yourself to buy a dip and get a very logical, throwback or stair step target right around 112K. So we can kind of keep an eye on that. And I already talked about Ethereum, Jason. You can go back and watch that. I talked about Ethereum local breakout right around 2900, 2950. I talked about all the clustered resistance above and how it's unlikely to just knife right through, but you would be playing a throwback. I haven't talked about Solana. I'll touch base on it briefly. It is, the moving averages are all sideways here. It's more or less trendless, and it's in a well-defined price range between 145 and 180. I wouldn't be jumping in until you get a clear break of that range. There's a lot of better just looking altcoin charts right now. Prices, above the MA200. Many charts that have this similar structure with a similar double bottom but are above the peak, right? Again, we understand the construction of a double bottom. I explain all that in the Trading Encyclopedia playlist. So I would kind of just sit on your hands and do nothing with Solana until it can break 180. So I really appreciate you folks. I know you probably want me to keep going and keep taking questions. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I recorded a 1 hour long interview today for the long form interview series. I'm going to get that out. I'm going to work on some more videos for the Trading Encyclopedia. I really highly recommend you check this out. These are 3-minute videos designed for you to learn trading and TA topics. This should be your one-stop shop to learn how to trade and to understand stuff. I'm taking the textbooks and putting a little bite size for you. What's a hanging man? What's a double bottom? Southern doji, emotional management, head and shoulders, throwback, pullback, triple bottom, pin bar, high and tight. All these terms you hear me using, you've heard me using for years on Twitter. I'm now creating this repository, the video library. Check it out. If you don't see the topic you're looking for, let me know and I'm going to make that video. Okay. I'm going to make you that video. So find me on Twitter, of course, at Big Cheds. Catch me on Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. I do a twice a week full market stream. I haven't missed one of those in 7 years. My new book, Trading Journal, is on Amazon. The reviews are in. People love it. I love this book. It's a great book. And because I have that new book out, I'm making my last book free. Trading Quotes. Check it out. I'm recording the whole book for free. Folks, thanks for chilling with me. Thanks for hanging out with me. Really, really appreciate you bringing energy and bringing the love and the strength to this live stream. So thank you, everybody. I hope everybody's having a great summer, having a great week. And if I didn't answer your question, okay, Chocolate, I'll take a look at Tia. This is terrible. Chocolate, Tia's terrible, brother. But if it gets a little bit higher, it'd be a nice short right around 2:30. I thank you folks for coming. If I didn't answer your question, I'll try again on Friday, and you can catch me then. So let's finish up with a little bit more dancing, the Church of Eight Wheels, and we'll go from there, folks. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Be well.